Hello, this is Alec Hansen, a technical advisor with FHI 360 based in Tunisia. This is the story of how we successfully tested a collaborative approach to develop a cluster for medicinal and aromatic plants in Northwest Tunisia. What started as an 18-month, $1 million project has now grown to $5.5 million over 5 years, working across 5 value chains across the interior regions of Tunisia. It worked because we used a cluster approach when the conventional wisdom said it could not be done. The project was designed to help handicraft producers in Northwest Tunisia to raise their incomes and to export. People who had worked in this sector for years said, clusters are hard to launch in Tunisia anyway, but especially in rural areas working with less educated women, it's just not going to work. Well, the results exceeded our expectations. The women's cooperatives we're working with have gotten certified, they've begun exporting, they're online, and they have more confidence in their abilities. We think it succeeded for 2 main reasons. It was evidence-based, and at every step of the way, we figured out how to be genuinely inclusive. That set up a positive cycle of mutual confidence and trust that is absolutely key. Most of the essential oils exported from Tunisia involve large companies that exploit the women who collect the wild plants. But sprinkled throughout the region are about a half a dozen women's cooperatives that collect the plants and then produce their own oil, which is actually higher quality than the large commercial producers. So we formed a cluster working group where 8 or 9 of those cooperatives, as well as several other stakeholders, about 40 to 50 people in all, met every 2 to 3 months and jointly carved out an agenda for how to improve their lives. And they found that by working together, they were able to achieve so much more. But over time, they took over all the key functions and the key decisions. What markets shall we be studying? What kind of new packaging do we need? As you can see behind me, the new packaging is one of the things that they're most proud of because they've really been able to sell their products much more effectively with this. These are just a few of the examples of what they've accomplished. As you can see, our team consisted mainly of women, but this wasn't enough to overcome the trust issue. These cooperatives didn't trust the government at all, and their experience with other donors who seemed to come and go sporadically didn't make them want to trust us in the beginning either. We finally realized that we needed to spend quality time with them, getting up at 5 in the morning and hiking up and down the mountain for 6 hours in the hot sun while they collected wild plants for distillation. After that experience, they decided that we really cared about them, and they were far more open about sharing information. The trust among the members of the cluster is essential, and we can really think of that as their social capital. We conducted a social network analysis and found that our proxies for social capital jumped from 2018 to 2020, 240% for one of them and 140% for the other. So clearly something had happened in terms of their networks expanding, but also their trust among each other. The project is expanding into other sectors. We've successfully transitioned to a Tunisian project director, and we're excited about this project because here we have a region in conflict with a poor history of collaboration, working with relatively poorly educated women, and the cluster is being institutionalized and will clearly outlast our intervention. I will never forget a conversation I had with one of the cooperative members. I asked her, what impact has this had on your life? Are there things you can buy now that you couldn't buy before? And she said, buy things? Yes, I can buy more. But the most important thing is that he can no longer control when I come and when I go. After that, I realized this is having a much deeper and broader impact on their lives than I had ever imagined. Seeing their confidence, their sense of ownership, and what they've accomplished is visible proof that even in a challenging environment, the cluster approach can achieve sustainable and transformational benefits for vulnerable producers.